tips that all real estate agents should be using and learn from an incredible guest that we have today. Stay on board. Get ready for the Michael Meier Show. Let's do this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the start of the Michael Meier Show. So today we are going to be talking to a real estate investor who's going to be sharing with us tips, tricks, and what he does and other successful real estate agents and investors do that make them successful. The title of today's show is The Skills and Strategies of Real Estate Pros. Amazing stuff, amazing value we're going to be sharing with you today. Without further ado, let me introduce you to Seth Williams. Seth, are you there?
I'm here, Michael. Hey, thanks for having me on your show. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for honoring our audience and being on the show and sharing the successes and things that you're doing. Just as a brief introduction to you, a couple of things that I think people should know about you. First of all, you were listed as one of the top influencers on BombBomb. And for those of you guys who don't know BombBomb, BombBomb is a real estate video. It's not even only real estate. It's a video application where you can send videos via email. You should all check it out. Second of all, what he's extremely well known for is he's a land investor for 10 years. For anybody that knows about investing in land is a complicated thing. So that's number two. And lastly, something that's huge is he is the founder of REtipster. REtipster.com is a website you can go to that is like an educational library, digital resources that will educate you on things that you need to do, that you should know to become a successful investor. So like a wealth of knowledge right there. Everybody should definitely go and check it out. Seth, if I could just start off by asking you just to fill in a little bit of the gaps, tell us where you're from, how you got into real estate, give us the backstory here, and we'll dig in a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Michael, I got into real estate. It was probably like 2006-ish was when I really started diving into it. And really my whole, are you familiar with the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
Of course, yeah.
Read that. I'm sure lots of people have heard of that. It's a great book. When I was in late college, I had read that, and it kind of opened my eyes to this whole concept of financial freedom and how you get there. Like, what do you have to do to not rely on the income from a job? And just a huge paradigm shift. And one of the things he talks about in that book is real estate. Like, how can you use real estate to build wealth, passive income, and that kind of thing. And so, in my mind, I'm like, great, real estate, that's what I'm supposed to do. So, I immediately went and started trying to find deals on houses that I could flip or turn into rental properties or anything like that. And at the time, 2006, 2007, it was very, very difficult to find any property where the numbers would make sense, where I could buy it and make any kind of money that would be like positive cash flow. And I got really, really, really discouraged because I spent hundreds of hours trying to find deals out there and just nothing was happening. And I knew, like, there must be a way, because I know people do this and people do really well at it. And why am I not putting the pieces together here? And it wasn't about 2008 when I started to learn about land investing. And land investing was something that was really intriguing to me because, first of all, when I heard it, I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. Like, I don't know why I would go after just vacant land. Like, what are you supposed to do with that? How do you make money from that?
Uh-huh.
But when I realized the possibilities of how I'm able to buy vacant land for like almost nothing. Like, it is completely possible to find vacant lots out there for like $100, $500, $1,000 for like big, substantial pieces of property. And then when you're able to buy land for that cheap, you can then turn around and sell it for a lot more than that. Like, even if you put it on the market for half of market value, you're still able to make a really good profit from that. And, on top of that, because we're just talking about land, it's a very, very simple type of property. without all the hassles and, tenants and things that break and people stealing stuff. Like none of that applies with land. And it's kind of just a numbers game. And similar to any type of asset out there, whether you're talking about jewelry or cars or anything of value, if you're able to acquire that for, practically nothing, it's not hard to make money from that if there's any substantial value to it. You just take the asset that has all this built-in free equity and then, cash in on some of that equity when you sell it. And so I've been doing that for about a decade now. And, because it's land, there's also a lot of ways you can do this, like without ever going to see the property in person. Like I just wrapped up a bunch of deals in New Mexico, where I bought and sold several and made, plenty of profit on them. And to this day, I've never been to New Mexico. Like I was able to do everything with online resources like Google Earth and things like that. So it's just a really cool business. And through my experience with land, I've learned a lot of stuff that applies not only to the land business, but, just real estate investing in general, and even real estate agents. A lot of people that come to my blog, retipster.com, are agents. And I started the blog back in 2012 because it's really just my way of like taking all the lessons I had learned and really trying to like answer questions and solve problems for people who were sort of trying to do a similar thing that I was, but they didn't have anybody to give them the answers. And just through what I had learned, I just want to say, hey, here's how I did this. Here's how I did that. And it's just kind of caught on. A lot of people have been checking it out and getting a lot out of it. Things like how to create a really effective real estate listing to sell a property fast, things like that. Like how do you write effectively? How do you make a good headline that people will notice on a website like Craigslist? Like how do you get the right pictures that are really going to make a property look great? There's hundreds of different topics I've been able to cover, but it's just really, really fun. Like I genuinely enjoy putting that kind of content together. And,
that's awesome. When you started it, right? I get it that you're trying to help people out, and you're obviously a good guy. And on behalf of everybody that reads it, thank you. But what was the long-term goal with it? Was it just like a brain dump for you that felt good, or was there some kind of longer-term plan? What's the looking at these $1 million postcard templates? You're sharing some really great stuff there. What's the game plan with this? What were you thinking when you're starting with it?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it was like in 2011. Actually, I had this idea to write a book, like just put together a book that was, really in depth, talking about all the big key lessons I had learned. But what I realized after I had written most of the thing was that nobody knew who I was and nobody cared about my experience. Like I was basically trying to, put together this great resource, but like, why would anybody buy that or be interested in that? Like I'm
Where's
just
the credibility.
I'm just, John Smith, like who cares who I am? So I decided, rather than trying to like put all this together and like trying to sell it to somebody for $15 or something, I basically just said, hey, let's start turning this into blog posts and putting it out there for free. And if people find it helpful, sweet. And what's kind of nice is that a lot of organic traffic has sort of made its way there, like lots of different random search terms like land investing or real estate ads or things like that. People have in time sort of found their way to the RE Tipster blog just because I took the stuff that I was going to put in a book and just sort of gave it out there for free and built a lot on top of that. And honestly, like I know what it's like to struggle. Like I had a really hard time with a lot of things in my business when I was getting started. Like it wasn't fun. And there were a lot of times when I was just like, man, I don't know how I'm going to make this work, but I got through it. And in that process, like there were just golden nuggets that I wish somebody had spelled out for me. And I know what it's like when you're trying to start something and you're trying to get somewhere with your business. And it's just hard, like it's just not an easy thing. And there's lots of questions. And I want to help connect dots for a lot of people who might feel defeated or discouraged. And, there are some things that, genuinely are very, very confusing. And no matter what anybody is trying to tell you out there, like, it's just not an easy thing to get through that. And, you know, if there's something that like I still haven't even figured out yet, I'm going to say that on the blog. So people realize like, hey, I'm not crazy and I'm not alone. This guy still can't do it either.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's been a really cool way to, really just do a brain dump and create a resource out there that people find helpful.
Yeah. So something that, you know, it speaks to me a lot because I'm very much into the real estate education space. I'm primarily talking to real estate agents, right? I have this show that's been going on for a while where I introduce people to awesome rock stars like yourself who like share information. I have classes in my office for agents all around the city to come in. We're a New York City brokerage firm here. So I do all this education stuff and, you know, I don't get paid for any of this. You know, sometimes people also ask me like, why are you doing it? You know, long term, I am building a coaching practice and things that will, you know, long term, I'll monetize it. But like, I don't know if like you ever look back and you work on the dollars of the cents, if it ever becomes, you know, makes sense financially, really. It's something that you're just passionate about, you know, and you just, I don't know what else I would do with myself. Like, I feel like I need to do something. This is something I can do. So I do it.
I think, I mean, it's with something like what I'm doing, and probably what you're doing as well. Like at some point, I mean, I guess if you just want to do it all for free, like forever, like that's cool. But I mean, if anybody's being honest, I think most people out there like have a plan to monetize it at some point. And I certainly do. And I have, and I think the difference though, that I want it to be different in that, like a lot of people are saying, hey, like pay me $2,000 and then I'll show you all the secrets and then you can figure it out. And I'm sort of the mindset of like, I'm going to show you everything, you know, it's all here. And if you want to pay a little bit more and have me organize it all for you and like really spell it out A to Z, then you can do that too. But if you want to just like, you know, spend a lot more time on the blog, you can probably find it all there for free as well. So
right.
I mean, there's a few, you know, probably 1% of the content on the blog is like paid content. But other than that, like, you know, pretty much all of it can be had. Like, for example, postcard templates that you mentioned earlier. The very bottom of the blog post, you can pay, I think it's $67 for the exact templates that I've used on hundreds of direct mail campaigns. But before you even get to that buy now button, I show you examples, not word for word, but like, you know, here's what you can say in the postcard, fill in the blank with this, say that.
Yeah.
So like, you can just like make up your own based on what I'm showing you. Like it's pretty, you know, turnkey, but if you want me to literally give you the exact thing I use, then yeah, you can pay for that.
Yeah.
It's kind of thing
what
like,
I think interesting is that the person that's probably going to be successful with the content that you're sharing is the person that's going to pay for it. Because if you spend all your time and you think your time is so invaluable that you're going to search, listen, nowadays, everything's on the web, right? I mean, you're putting stuff down, but someone somewhere has written what you've said somewhere in some fashion, right? They just may have said it in 5 million pages that doesn't make sense. And in yours, they can send it in a 1 page that makes sense. But like, if somebody wants to spend all their time doing research, great, go spend all your time doing research. But if you want to pay to get the research you already did for them, and then they can go and make money, you know, that's what the successful person does, you know, and you're looking for that person. You want successful people to buy your content.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's, I mean, admittedly, like I'm kind of a cheapskate as well. Like I understand that mindset. And even when you think about something like creating your own website for your business, like there's the option of, I can go open up just a white box WordPress website and spend, you know, dozens of hours trying to figure out how to make it look the way I want it to. Especially if you're not experienced in that, that can be a huge, huge time commitment and just like zap you mentally in terms of taking a lot out of you. Or you can pay, you know, maybe 2 or 3 times more or get some kind of subscription service and have your website done in like 30 minutes and it'll look really good. So it's like, there are different ways to go. And I'm not going to tell you like, this is the right way, this is the wrong way, but it's sort of, you need to just decide for yourself, like, which battles do you want to fight and what things do you deserve to have easy and what things really should be just sort of fought, you know, the hard way.
Yeah.
It's, there's a lot of people who have done a lot of stuff, done huge deals and built like big businesses without paying me anything. and they've done it all from the free stuff on my blog. And I say, more power to you. I have no problem with that. But basically, like, for the people out there who do want, you know, a faster solution or easier help, that's there too. So it's kind of a pick and choose whichever way you want to go.
Yeah. Now let me ask you. Obviously, you understand the value in a blog and putting that together and sharing massive value and, you know, giving stuff away for free. You give stuff away for free, they come back for more. Tell us a little bit about, you know, how did you get listed as one of the real estate video influencers on BombBomb? This is a magazine BombBomb put together with all the different influencers in it. How did you, you know, tell us what you did that got you there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a really cool thing. It was nice that they did that. Well, I mean, something that I have used liberally on my blog is video, in terms of like when I want to explain how to do something, how to pull a direct mail list, how to use a website, just explaining a concept in general. Like me personally, I absorb information from video and audio a lot better than I do just like reading text on a screen. Mm-hmm. And that's just me. Some people are totally opposite. Some people can't stand videos, but personally, like, that's a very powerful medium for me, especially when I'm trying to like visually show somebody how to do something. It just works really well. So I've used that a lot. And originally it was just like, you know, I think video would be good for this. So I did that on a couple of random tutorials, and this YouTube channel that I put together sort of started to pick up steam and people started subscribing to it. And so I just kind of kept doing more and more and more of that. And it's really kind of worked well. I've got like 10,000 subscribers now. And it's just been a really fun way to put together a different kind of content that explains things in a different way. And, you know, along the same lines, I discovered BombBomb probably like a couple of years ago now, which is also an awesome service. Like I just sent out a video email before we got on this call here. And it's just a really helpful way to, you know, put a face in a, explain things, you know, even like conveying emotion and just tone of voice and body language and things like that you can't do if you're just typing out an email to somebody. Yeah. And it's just really easy to like embed these videos in an email and send them out. And I think they even have like a screen sharing functionality to it now too. It's like, I don't know. Like, given how powerful it is, I'm kind of surprised like everybody doesn't have this, honestly. Yeah. Like I sort of get it, because like some people don't like having their face on video, and I even feel weird about it sometimes. I don't like how I sound, but like seriously, like I've closed huge deals and done like very persuasive things through email, which is like crazy. But the reason I was able to do it was because I was using BombBomb. So yeah, just a super powerful tool that like it's out there. You can start using it today. So yeah, no, I'm a big advocate for that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm a huge, you know, obviously I'm an avid user of BombBomb as well. And I do everything from like, if I have any kind of drip email campaigns, like, you know, a buyer lead calls in and I want to stay in touch with them, or a listing lead comes in and wants to stay in touch with them, I try to video every single part of that process, you know, and BombBomb just makes that really easy.
Yeah.
So another question I have for you is, you know, some tips and tricks that you would offer, share with real estate agents. What do you think that pros have in common that makes them successful and gives them the edge?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think like with all the different people I've come into contact with, not only through my blog, but also just in business and in life, I think maybe it's just me, but most people that I've encountered, they love to kind of dream about what could be, like this business idea or a deal they want to do, or some new thing they want to try out. Because like it's the easiest thing in the world to just dream about it. Just think of ideas and, you know, someday I'm going to be huge if I do this. But they don't do anything about it. You know, they sort of think a lot about it, and they might take like a step or two, but then they just stop. So that's kind of like the most common thing I've found. There's other people out there who it's kind of good, kind of bad, depending on how they end up handling it. But other people out there are very action oriented, but they don't think it through. So they just like start running out the door and trying to do things. But they don't really have a plan in place. So they kind of just like bump into the walls and screw stuff up, and can even hurt themselves because they haven't really thought that much about what they're doing. but there's kind of a small handful of people out there that understand how to do both. You know, the understanding that, you know, ideas and dreams are a multiplier of action. Like you can't just do one and you can't just do the other. Like they need to both be there, and you need to have the idea. It's got to be a good idea. You got to take action. And, you know, when things go wrong, because they will, you know, stop, reassess, recalculate, tweak things if you need to, and then try it again, and then do the same thing all over again. And a lot of people, I don't know, it's kind of a tricky thing. Like most people are naturally better at one or the other, but doing both takes just a well-rounded mind, I think, and somebody who just knows how to play both parts of that.
Yeah. You know, what's interesting is that you're successful at investing. You created this blog that's successful. You start doing video. You got listed as a bomb influencer. So it seems like, you know, strategically you're making these moves and then you're following through with them. And it's not like you're just successful at one thing. You seem to be strategic and successful at all the things that you're setting your mind to. Yeah. So, you know, it's not like a one-hit wonder kind of thing. Like you find that one crazy deal on land and all of a sudden that's it. You're retired, you know?
Yeah.
So really good stuff. Jennifer, I wanted to know if we have any questions any of our guests have for Seth, or, you know, any questions?
Yeah, actually, we do have a question from one of our viewers.
Sorry, just to introduce Jennifer. Sorry to introduce you earlier. Jennifer, you know, works with me at Meier, and we work very closely together. And she's obviously here on the show to field questions and you know, to give input and insight. So welcome to the show, Jennifer.
Thank you. Happy to be here. So the question that we have for you is, for someone who's just getting into video and real estate, do you recommend using any equipment, or do you recommend using like their computer or their phone? What's your best go-to?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I'll show you. I mean, this is one way you can go. I've got a Canon 70D with a, you know, professional mic on the top of it. And this thing gets very, very good video, has really good autofocus on your face. The audio is awesome. But this rig here is like $1,200 to get this. And to be honest, like it sort of slows down the video recording process and just the production element. You got to take the SD card out, plug it into your computer, transfer the file. I mean, it's just like, the reason I do it is because it differentiates me. There's not many people out there in my space that like care that much about making a good video that the production quality is like good. And I've just, you know, personally, when I see videos that are well done, like it gives them instant credibility in my mind. Like, okay, this person cares about what they're doing, and they're, you know, it's obviously important to be saying the right things too, but it's kind of like a subtle thing. When videos are well done and the lighting is right, it does something. However, for like, I think 9 out of 10 people, it's not worth it. At least, like I can tell you, I've done some videos just with my webcam and just making sure the lighting is right. And what's more important is what I'm saying, that I'm, you know, explaining something in a clear, concise way that resonates with people. I think if you can do that, that's like by far the biggest part of getting it right. So I wouldn't feel like you have to go nuts. Like you can make great videos without having all this high-end stuff that I've wasted all my money on. So it's
is there any reason why you chose that versus like a DJ Osmo that we see a lot of people using? Any particular reason you like that specific camera?
Yeah, I mean, this particular camera, I've actually got a couple other ones, but what I use this one for the most is when I am doing sort of like a vlog style. Like I'm personally talking into the camera. So I'm not like walking through a property, like taking shots or anything, but like I'm speaking to it. The reason this one is really helpful for that is because for the price, it's got really good autofocus. Like it just snaps onto your face and it can blur out the background. And there's actually a newer version of this camera. There's the 80D. This is the 70D. But in terms of like I've got another camera over here.
Does that have a stabilizer in it? Does that have any kind of, or you have to have it stationary?
Yeah, the lens that I have here has stabilization, but the camera does not. So it actually can get pretty shaky if you're like handheld. There are probably better cameras if that's what you're trying to do, like walk through a property. I think the Lumix GH5 is probably a good one for that. I've heard you almost don't even need a stabilizer because it's so well stabilized. But for example, this is another camera. This is the Lumix G7, and it's actually a better camera in every way than the 70D, except for one crucial thing. It has horrible autofocus. So like I can be pointed at myself and I'm just totally blurred out the whole time and you can't even see me. And that's when you're doing that, that's a huge problem. So just kind of depends on what the use of it is. Like if you're trying to do shots of people or a property, or if you're speaking to the camera yourself, you have to take that into account, I think.
We've had a lot of people recently talking about vlogs and, having people follow them around with cameras and stuff like that. So from what I'm gathering from you, those aren't the type of cameras for those applications. These are more stable, talking into a camera and, grabbing that direct footage.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as you can probably tell, I'm kind of like a camera geek. Like I
can see that's why I'm asking you these questions. So this was,
yeah, I just think this stuff is really cool. Like I love spending money on this stuff and just like trying things out. But yeah, I mean, it's funny, like there's a number of different, like Sony has great cameras too. If you need really good autofocus, they're like probably the best. But there's other things about them that maybe aren't necessarily the best. So you just kind of have to understand like what each camera can deliver and what your needs are. And you can kind of just make sure you're getting the one that has the best attributes. I don't think there's a camera out there yet that nails everything from every angle. I think some of them are getting kind of close, but we're not there yet, unfortunately.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, I'm sure when we get there, you're going to let us know about it because you'll be the first one who has it. Awesome. Cool. Seth, listen, I want to thank you so much for, joining us on the show and sharing the valuable tips with everything. And, everything from execution and follow through and thinking things through. This whole really nice insight into cameras. It was really cool to kind of see this about you and get your camera geeky side. So, it was kind of fun to watch that. It's like watching a Consumer Reports video here on cameras. It was unexpected and awesome at the same time. I love it. So, I want to thank you so much. And is there any advice that you could give? Let's say there's a real estate agent that wants to get into an investing, because we have a lot of real estate agents that watch this show and that want to get into investing. Is there any advice that you would share with them, from anything, from any advice at all?
Yeah, I mean, it sort of depends on like how much time you have to invest, how much money you have to invest, what your appetite is for debt and that kind of thing. Everybody kind of comes from a different, position, but I can just tell you, like for what I do personally, what really appealed to me about it is that with land, I have no debt. Like all of the properties I buy, like I can pay for them with the money in my bank account, like less than $1,000. And for me, that was a huge thing that appealed to me because I didn't have to have the risk. I didn't have to make monthly payments and work against the clock and stuff like that. So if that's kind of how you think, then think about trying land investing, or at least trying a direct mail strategy where you can find properties and buy them for pennies on the dollar. That might be something that's worth checking out. But another thing, if you just know you want to buy real estate, but you have no clue where to start, check out RE Tipster blog. I've got lots of articles that sort of can help point you in the right direction and help you understand the benefits of certain types of investing and that kind of thing.
Awesome. Thank you. If anybody wants to reach out to you, I assume the best way is to go to RE Tipster. Is there, are you big on social media? You prefer email? What's the best way to reach out to you if, people want any advice, or heck, maybe they find a good deal and they want to ask you if you want to get involved with them?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on all the major social media platforms that you probably know about. If you go to the blog, you can see all the social media icons at the top. If you want to follow me or connect with me in some way, you can, go check those out. I've also got like a contact page on the blog as well. So you can feel free to reach out there if you need to.
Awesome. Great stuff. Thank you so much for jumping on. Jennifer, thank you so much for co-hosting with me. Everybody stay tuned next week, 4:30, same time, same place, another awesome rock star to help to talk to you about growing your real estate business. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Thanks.